Hello, Robert King, Desmond, Tony. Greetings, Tammy. greetings. Hello. Oh, wonderful. Thanks for having you. Tata, thank you. Mr. Bash, thank you. If you just tune in, just share. Here again, my name is Daniel Funton. I will be speaking live. Share. Here again, my name is Daniel Funton. I will be speaking live. What is new? So, if you happen to be, could you just But anyway, here again, sorry for the brief break. Gonna get everyone connected. This is Fontan Daniel. I will be speaking live here from the great state of Texas, here in the United States. And remember that I am live on my Facebook and on my YouTube. So either way, you should be able to get me live. And here again, I want to thank all of you that are just joining me. Here again, my name is Fontan Daniel. I will be speaking here from the great state of Texas, here in the United States. And if you watching me live on my YouTube or on my Facebook. Either way, you should be able to get me. So there is important thing that I will be talking about today about this Southern Cameroon territory, now the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Uh, um, I know the story. What I have to talk today is about the important person about A.N. Jua, Augustine Ngumjua, always known as A.N. Jua. So, so because many history, historical things are not often being taught. So that is why I'm going to be talking why, you know, the people of Southern Cameroon, because often they look at us as more of a color, more of neighboring country, La Republique. But there is a great distinction between the people of Southern Cameroon and their own territorial integrity and their own self government. But yet, the world see La Republique, because the people of Southern Cameroon have been injustice, have been have been crushed. So, but here we have to reenact the historical fact, and that our people doesn't deserve a single soul to be killed. And so here we are together in this business. So I just want to take a moment to thank all of you that are tuning in this afternoon. Remember that you make sure when you are on my YouTube, make sure you subscribe and make sure you got all the important informations that may be coming out. And I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are watching. Uh, Let me see what is happening here. So, uh, well, so first, before I go to important member of these nations, the people of Southern Cameroon, Federal Republic of Ambazonia. Before I dive into talk about that were being stopped, and both of them are of late. You know, I want to take a moment to thank all of you that are watching, fellow brothers and sisters here in the United States, fellow brothers and sisters in ground zero. I understand the painful that you all go through at home. I felt it deeply into my soul, and I felt the pain, and I feel the people that are being shot indiscriminately. And I stand together with you. I stand together with you. No single soul should be killed in our homeland, in our homeland. But yet, our brothers and sisters are being slaughtered, and especially the younger male. It is a sad situation. But however, I can assure you that all of us are together. All of us stand together in one spirit and in one heart, in one mind, and in one goal and one objective. We have been always been a good steward, but people misconstrue our stewardship as a sign of weaknesses. However, this is the moment that we must arise. Jesus Christ arise after the third day. Then the people of Southern Cameroon must arise after 56 years. It took God's child to rise within a short space of time. But God's children will rise. It doesn't matter whether it took 56 years. And so this is the 56 years. This is the moment that we must stand firmly and stand together and liberate our people once and for all. I want to take a moment to thank the German parliament, the opposition coalition of the German parliament. Today they opened a debate, but I'm speaking here from this great state of Texas that this is not a moment of a debate in parliament. This is a moment when people are dying. This is a moment for universal action. This is a moment to come together and say, this is what we intend to do. This is not a time to be debating in parliament because this problem has been for the past 2 years or so. But wherever I thank the German parliament that are opposition coalitions that are constantly debating about these people, the people of Ambazonia, the people of Southern Cameroon. And while the British are still slumbering, are still dreaming, are still thinking that they don't have anything in common because the crisis in which my people are facing It's because of injustice within the British government. But I am here in this great nation called United States. And I believe that this government can change the differences. But however, I am calling on the United States government. This is not a time to be debating. This is not a time to call. Our people are being killed by indiscriminately because the nation choose us to become a slavery on their behalf. But I am here to tell the world that our people will no longer be slavery. Our people will no longer be slavery. Our people deserve their own identity. We need to govern ourselves. We don't need another foreign nations to come and teach us how we should be governed. I am here speaking in this world that I believe, that all of us believe, that injustice shall never prevail, but the righteousness of the people must prevail. So that is why I am going to be speaking here from this great state of Texas, here in the United States. The Cameroon Post Special Edition. But before I proceed, let me first of all thank the United States Congress. I want to take a moment to thank the United States Congress. I want to take a moment to thank the United States Senate. I want to take a moment to thank Nikki Haley, the outgoing United Nations Permanent Representative, Nikki Haley. Although she has left halfway and the mission hasn't been accomplished. But I think he just began the debate on the issues. Because when we speak about the current United Nations as it's formed, is absolutely disgusting. But however, I want to thank the outgoing United Nations U.S. Permanent Representative to the United Nations, Nikki Haley. But I believe that the new person that is coming will not be someone that is new on the field. But however, but our people, I want to extend our sincere thanks and greetings to the Nikki Haley, wherever he chooses to live and where she will be going. But however, the spirit of our people has changed and that we must move forward. The people of Southern Cameroon, the people of now the Ambazonia, the people of West Cameroon, the people has never been a colonial territory of this neighboring country, La Republique. And yet, the La Republique choose to suppress the will of our people. Imagine the former person that initiated this gruesome relationship with this neighboring country, La Republique du Cameroon. Jongu Foncha, the architect of this relationship. Jongu Foncha, the architect of the relationship. In a Cameroon Post special edition of number 165 of June 1 to 7, 1983, S.T. Muna, and Dr. Jongu Foncha tabled a document for a press conference at Fudi, that is in Yaoundé, at Fudi, request a permission for a conference. That conference was to hold in Hilton Hotel on the 29th of May, that was Saturday, 1983, at the Fudi Divisional Officer. That was S.T. Muna, the architect that bring us to this funny relationship that we are here still speaking about it. He requests, by obligation, La Republique has no objection to refuse S.T. Muna and Jongu Foncha table a document at the Fudi requesting for a conference. Initially, as the leader of the West Cameroon, he has an obligation to be granted. The fact that he choose to request and follow a normal procedure and proceedings and request for a conference, and he was refused. Both of them was refused. They refused because they haven't recognized that we as a separate people, but they see us as a colonial territory. But I am here to let the world know that our people have suffered for the least period of time. It's time that our people need to sit up and deserve their own destiny. We have used all ample of time to ask for a common dialogue. But however, we have met a resistance. We have met a resistance. We have never been fully recognized. And yet we are a people. We are a nation. We respect the common identity in which we stood for. We simply tabled a normal proceeding that was S.T. Muna and Jongu Foncha. They tabled a document on Cameroon Post Special Edition, number 165 of June. Jongu Foncha was supposed to hold a press conference at a Hilton Hotel in Yaoundé. And that document was tabled at the Fundi requesting for a press conference. And that press conference was refused, was objected. Remember, Jongu Foncha is the architect that brought us to this relationship that we are facing, a wedding which the marriage never took place. And we, our people, are being murdering, slaughtering, and killing. And this ongoing genocide that is going in our home territory, our fellow brothers, each time when I look at the images that is coming up, it is very upsetting. The world look on us as more of an animals that it doesn't see the world attention. Even at the United Nations head office, that is physically here in the United States. The world refused to accept the reality. The world refused to acknowledge the reality. The world refused to accept. And that is why this atrocity that is happening around the world is because the world turned a blind eye towards evil doers. And that is why innocent souls are being killed indiscriminately. I am here, let the world understand. I am here, let the world understand that the people of Southern Cameroon was never a colonial territory. Our people was never a colonial territory of this neighboring country, La République du Cameroon. Our people are being killed. Our people are being slaughtered. Our people are being murdered. But the people of Southern Cameroon, now the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, they have exhibited a moral democratic form of government. The last cabinet of the people of Southern Cameroon state government. I think I have posted a series of pictures about the Federal Republic of Southern Cameroon, the cabinet of the Southern Cameroon government. The Southern Cameroon government cabinet of 1965 was being led by S.A.N. Gumdwa. That was the prime minister, the last prime minister of the head of government of the people of Southern Cameroon. The people of Southern Cameroon enjoy a meaningful, true democratic government. La République, if La République turned or changed and acknowledged Professor Maurice Kamto, if La République accept to transfer power to Professor Maurice Kamto, that would be the first time in historical background where La République turned a relationship where they transfer power from one elected official to the next. Professor Maurice Kamto, but there is series of atrocity that is going on. First, La République does not believe in an effective transfer of power. They believe in an ultra violence. They believe in dictatorship. They believe in absolutely believe in absolute disgusting democratic policy, where you have one individual at 86 or 85, 86 years is still running as the president of a nation after 36 years of autocratic rule, and yet is still playing another disgusting mafia to retain himself as another president of that country. This is absolutely disgusting. And yet the world seems to acknowledge that it is a reality. Let me give you a typical example. Professor Maurice Kamto, in his circumstantial experience as the current, what they call an electoral committee or whatever they call it, an elector, it requests them to submit the list of voting polling stations. Unfortunately, those lists were submitted. And now, the Republic didn't know why he asked. And now, they are now intended to fabricate ghost polling stations and to fit this current dictatorship as the winner. This is what happened. And now, they haven't. And that is why his office was immediately invaded to get all the computers in order to fabricate, because they knew that he had the factual information. And yet they don't want to report the fact. Can you imagine that election, with the advent of technology, it has to take 15 days to report? With the advent of technology, it simply tabulate the result and send the text messages. And immediately the results should be released within 24 hours. But it's going to take 2 weeks to install this brutal dictatorship, Paul Biya, back into power. You see, our people deserve their own democratic government that they should be able to manage as it has existed before. The people of Southern Cameroon has witnessed series of elections in which power was transferred from one elected official to the next elected officials. And this demonstration has never prevailed in this neighboring country like Republic of Cameroon. They have never, since its independence, they are independent, post-independent, they have never exercised where there is a meaningful transfer of power from an elected official to the next elected officials. They haven't exercised it. The people of Southern Cameroon, through Jongu Fonja, S.T. Endel was first prime minister. And after his lose election, he handed over power to Jongu Fonja. When Jongu Fonja, after his role, he handed over power to A.N. Ngumjua. And Ngumjua was assassinated with the complicity of the French government and Amadou Ahidjo. Ngumjua, the last prime minister of Southern Cameroon, he was assassinated by Ahidjo with complicity of the French government. We enjoy a meaningful democratic government. The last government of the Southern Cameroon, this is a list of the names. I am going to read the name as they were exactly. The prime minister and head of government in the Southern Cameroon territory was A.N. Joa, Augustin Ngumjua. P.M. Kale, the Speaker of the House of Assembly. P.M. Kale, the Speaker of the House of Assembly. N.N. Bile, the Secretary of State for Works and Transport. J.N. Lamfo, the Secretary of State for Local Government. L.M. Ndamukom, Secretary of State for Education and Social Welfare. M.N. Monono, the Parliamentary Secretary for Minister of Works. A.W. Daga, the Parliamentary Secretary for Minister of Social Government. F.N. Ajabe, son, the Secretary of Agriculture. J.N. Salmon, the Secretary of State for Forest and Veterinary Services. SNG York, the Parliamentary Secretary for Minister of Agriculture. Mr. F. Pacha, the Sergeant at the Arms. BP Ayok, Acting Clerk Assistant. J.H. Nganji, the Secretary of State for Cooperative and Community Development. S.E. Ncha, the Secretary of State for Prime Minister's Office. S.N. Tamfu, Secretary of State for Economic and Planning. P.M. Moa, Secretary of State for Interior. And Dr. E.M. Endele, the leader of the House of Assembly. And P.M. Kemcha, the Minister of Finance. Is this a curse in our people? Why our people become a slave in their own home? Why should a foreign nation become to destroy our fellow brothers and sisters and murdering our people indiscriminately? And yet we have a terrorist called the Secretary General of the United Nations, physically here, the most corrupted individual. I mean, it's time the world to terminate the United Nations current leadership. It's time. It's time. Because the world atrocity is because the world turned against the evil dictatorship. And that is why we have chaos around the world. Because the United Nations has factually failed to recognize the evil of people around the world, instead to support the indigenous for the common good of people. But yet we have a United Nations here in the United States, and people are being slaughtered indiscriminately because they turn a blind eye. Because they turn a blind eye. They turn a blind eye and they support evil dictatorship. And that is what we have here. We have this evil dictatorship. We have United Nations under the current Secretary General, they call Antonio Guterres. The world has turned a blind eye, and evil become the key as the support. And that is why murdering is the preoccupied of the rest of the world. This is our government. This is the cabinet of the people. We cannot superimpose La Republic terrorist government on behalf of our people, and our people are being slaughtered and murdered indiscriminately. And yet, we have the world that pays a close eye and not to accept the reality. This is the time the world needs to change. This is the time the world needs to look at the reality and accept the reality and be out of reality and not to change. Imagine that election is going on in this neighboring country. And yet, someone that is mentally incapacitated, called Pobia, is manipulating because he wants to stay in power. And yet the world is succumbed to, and the world cannot issue a condemnation. But however, our people is moving ahead. We will not in any circumstances be part of this system of La Republique. Fellow brothers and sisters, it's time. It's time. We will not be surrendering and feed the evil military of La Republique that is murdering our brothers and sisters. The architects, John Gufonja and S.T. Muna, in their final period of dying, they request an audience to be speaking, and they were refused. They were objected. They were objected. But yet the world see us more of with La Republique. We have got enough of this stress, and we got enough to live, and we've got enough. We have enough intellectual that is capable to maintain our nation and are able to protect our fellow brothers and sisters for the common good of the people of Southern Cameroon. We will not be romancing with the regime here. We will not. No matter whoever the incumbent, the newly incumbent, our people deserve our own identity, maintain our own normal elections, and live in a peace and quietness in our own anger. The world is more corrupt than one can ever imagine. The world is more corrupt than one can ever imagine. I cannot imagine that while we are speaking here, the world turned a blind eye and failed to accept and acknowledge that there is something wrong. But I can appreciate the German parliament are able to talk and speak about it. But this is not the time to be speaking. This is the time for action. I will urge the German parliament to support and stand with the people of Southern Cameroon. We will welcome any initiative. If it's the period of organizing, we will welcome the German that they recognize us. The problem is no nation will remain silent because they are so afraid of France. Because France is a destructor of Africa. France is the key agent that destroyed Africa. If a single world body simply recognized that 1961, they voted and they recognize the people of Southern Cameroon as a full-fledged entity, then we will not be able to speak these jargons. But yet, everyone remains silent as though nothing is happening. Fellow brothers and sisters, we don't expect the world to do anything. Neither did they do with previous nations. Because even in their own document that is written, it's stated, but they won't want to recognize their own document. Fellow brothers and sisters, this is the era that we either move forward as one people or we die and perish as one people. But I choose that we all die and perish. And we know that the world turned a blind eye and support the brutal dictatorship over the sovereign will of the people. But we will not succumb to that will. If you know, let's look at La République Constitution. Let's look. You all have read. You all took government. You all talk history. I am not an expert in the Constitution, but I am just a learned person, and I am going to talk about. Let's look at some of La République Constitution. La République Constitution of 1972 that they forced us into a what is so-called the 1972, and now they call the 1984 La République Constitution. That has no meaningless. That is absolutely meaningless. Let's look at some of the articles of that constitution. First, in a single decree signed by this evil dictatorship in 1984, it says Cameroon become effectively law number 84/1, February 1984. Cameroon will become a one Cameroon. Cameroon shall be, let me read exactly what it says. Article 1, the United Republic of Cameroon shall with effect from the date of the entry into the force of this law, known as Republic of Cameroon, law number 84/1 of February 1984. That is the year these terrorists survived a coup d'etat. And the coup d'etat was organized by themselves in neighboring country like Republic of Cameroon. That was a coup d'etat that was organized by them because of poor mismanagement. And they abolished our own territorial integrity by a single decree, by a single brutal dictatorship, and cancelled a nation on its own and formed a unitary state. In 1984, that decree, did they ask the people of Southern Cameroon? When the people of Southern Cameroon consulted, but it was a single brutal individual that unilaterally signed a decree, abolished my own hometown, that has its own government, and a single individual abolish it in a single day. Let's look the executive power of the executive power. Article 6. The president of the republic shall be elected by a majority of votes cast through direct and equal sacred universal suffrage. That was sub 1 of Article 6. Sub 2 of the same article, it says the president of the republic shall be elected for a term of 7 years, and he shall be eligible for re-election. When does he have to terminate his office? Absolutely, there's no way it's said there. He shall be eligible for anywhere he wants. Even when he is in graveyard, he still be eligible to be elected. What a nightmare. It is absolutely disgusting. Even if he died today, he still be eligible. And that is why he's still running. Article 6, subsection 2. The president of the republic shall be elected for a term of 7 years, and he shall be eligible for re-election. When does his termination mandate end? Absolutely, there's no way in this document that specifies that rubbish. And that is why he has been in power for the close to 36 years. And we do not believe. Imagine the people of Southern Cameroon, within a specific period, probably 10 years, they have had a series of prime ministers. John Foncha, J.J. Endele, and Ngundwada was assassinated. Let's look again on subsection 4, where the office of the president will become vacant as a result of death, resignation, or permanent incapacity duly asserted by the Constitutional Council. The poll of election of the new president shall be within 120 days. So he is suffering from mental retardation. He's suffering from psychosis. Who has to evaluate? Absolutely nobody. He's suffering from psychosis. He simply can't remember his daughter's name, his wife's name, the room he came out from. He's suffering from mental psychosis. He can't even discuss lengthy discussion with ordinary person. He can't remember the office he came out and returned. He must be directed. He's suffering from mental psychosis, but he's going to be another president from another 7 years. Even after he went to his grave, he will still be president for 7 years, and he doesn't have a term limit. That is the terror world that we live in, and I believe the people of Southern Cameroon will not be succumbed to this nonsense. Let's look on section 4, subsection 4A. The president of the Senate shall be right to act as an interim president of the republic until the new president of the country has been elected. In other words, the president of the Senate will succeed him. And then we look here on Article 10. The president shall appoint the prime minister. So the prime minister is simply a figurehead, which is being headed by an Anglophone. I hope you get it. So the president of the Senate shall succeed him should he become incapacitated, even though he's suffering from psychosis. But rather, he has a prime minister and a head of government. When he becomes incapacitated, the person to succeed him will be the Senate. And that comes who? The current person that is in France for medical checkup, for medical treatment. They call Nyat G. Marcel. And the prime minister, who is the head of the government, that is currently running the government, will not become eligible to be head of government. And you understand the tricky. Because Article 12, says the prime minister shall be head of government. If the prime minister is head of government, why should Jimenji Marcel succeed the president when he becomes incapacitated? Because they use that figurehead to place an anglophone. The people of Southern Cameroon, slavery, manipulative. This is the time we need to terminate this relationship. Let's move on and become our own nations. And that we have always enjoyed that freedom as a sovereign nation. We have enjoyed this freedom. So it's time. Let's let go. It's time. Let's let go La Republique. Let's let go La Republique. Another important factor is the judicial. There are three arms of government in a democratic society: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial. This department should separate itself and function as a check and balance. This department, executive, judicial, and the legislature, they should function as a separate independent body to maintain check and balance. The executive cannot control the judiciary. Neither should the judiciary control the legislature. But each one has its own specific role. The judiciary should be responsible. The judicial department should be responsible checking whether the law are respected. The judiciary department should be check whether the law are respected, and any individual that violates the law. But in this particular document called La Republique document, it is absolutely a nightmare, even though they don't respect it. The judiciary is the tools of the executive of Paul Biya, and they can't check him because he is the sole architect that decides in all the three arms of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive control all of the arms. What a disaster. What a noble disaster. What a noble disaster. The justice shall administer in the territory of the republic in the name of the people of Cameroon. The justice is supposed to interpret the law, what the law says. So the executive cannot perform a duty which are not within defined by law. But this document is a piece of sham. This is a piece of sham. It's a piece of sham. Subsection 3 under judiciary. The president of the republic shall guarantee the independence of the judicial power. So in other words, the executive deciding the power of the judiciary. What a disgusting. The executive decide the power of the judiciary. Rather than judiciary be autonomous. Each department is supposed to have an autonomous and to be able to have effective check and balancing. The president shall guarantee the independence of the judiciary. In other words, the president cannot guarantee the independence of the judiciary. Absolutely. In other words, the president can guarantee, and the next day the president cannot guarantee it. In other words, they wait for the president to decide what he wants. And the next day the president can decide what he wants. And that is the terrorist government of La Republique. Instead of the judiciary to carry on his independent decisions, I can imagine when President Obama, the healthcare law, for those who are here in the United States, for the healthcare law, even the president of this nation, President Obama, the president of this nation, during the healthcare law, he did not know what would be the outcome of the decision of the Supreme Court with respect to the healthcare law. The president, who is the executive, is head of another arm of government. But he was waiting for the judicial department to decide the healthcare law. He wasn't aware what the outcome was going to look like. Whether you're going to favor him, whether it's not going to, despite the fact that he has under the judicial, he has those who were appointed by Democrats and those that were appointed by Republicans. But yet they function independently. He was surprised to learn that the Hecker law went to his favor. That is the independence of the judicial system. That is the justice system that I want to see in the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. That is the justice system I want to see in Southern Cameroon. I want to see the people's liberty preserved and according to the law of the land of the people of Southern Cameroon. I shall in no circumstances be romancing with La Republic this nonsense, this rubbish. Fellow brothers and sisters, we are here. It's by the divine spirit of God that has made us to be in these wonderful nations. You all are in Germany. You are doing exactly what I am doing here. You are in Great Britain. You are doing exactly what I am doing here. Together, we will liberate our people, and they will have a home and a place they once called home. And they will have a freedom and liberty that preserve the identity of the people of Southern Cameroon, and that they will one day enjoy that some people did something. Fellow brothers and sisters, it's not the time that we sit up and be romancing with this regime. It's time we stand unanimously as one people together. We can conquer. We can defeat our enemy. The enemy are too hostile. But we together, we are smart. We are the best on the earth. We are super intelligent. But we can do this if we all, let's give up our own personal egoistic mind that I should be the one. Be the leader. It doesn't matter whether you should be at the helm. Whatever who is the helm, we should be the guiding spirit. We should be a guiding momentum. Fighting against one another doesn't going to lead us to anywhere. We must stand one people, one spirit, support one another, be willing to apologetic to each individual when we do wrong. I will be willing to call my next brother, say, I am sorry. What I did, I may have done something wrong. We should be able to stand and apologize to any individual whom we believe that we may have done wrong. The name calling that we all as superhead, calling this individual as this, doesn't gonna lead us somewhere. Just call him and say, boy, I am sorry. And let's have one unity, have one voice, one spirit. We will be stronger than La Republic. La Republic, the evil spirit is now entering La Republic. But it is time that we take advantage to be more unified and be more respectful. It doesn't have to be you, must be the head of the leadership. If someone is capable to take the baton stick, hand over the baton stick and allow the individual. And if you can't capable, then be willing to hand over the baton stick. That is how our brothers and sisters did. And they didn't have the means of communication as we have at this moment. They were able. John Wufonja will have to travel sometimes by foot to cover a distance to campaign. He didn't have the means that we have today. He couldn't even travel, but yet he was very smart. We talk about John Wumjua. Those people were very dynamic. They were very patriotic. They felt John A.N. Dua, he sacrificed his life for the common good of the people of Southern Cameroon. And yet we are still in this nightmare. History should have let us know that our deep divide is not going to lead us nowhere. It's going to retard our spirit of moving forward. So call your brother even if you are wrong. Tell him sorry and hear what he will respond. If he has been calling your name, harm your name, he will regret it for his own spirit, for you being apologized, even though he is the architect of that deserve to apologize on your behalf. Fellow brothers and sisters, our people are in the forest. Our people are being beaten by a snake. Just a few days ago, one of our brothers was beaten by a snake because he's staying in the forest. And we have the terrorist government of the neighboring country, La Republic, destabilize the peace of our people. And yet, we can't even have it at the back of our mind that this is what we need to stay more unified and let the Republic, let them face it squarely with the newly prime minister, newly elected president, and the old dictatorship. Fellow brothers and sisters, we together, one spirit, we can overcome. I wish you all a good day. Thank you and have a wonderful day. This is Fundo Daniel speaking. Remember that when you go to my YouTube, you subscribe. And that is where you can get many information or messages. Subscribe to my YouTube if you haven't. Be part of the momentum, be part of the spirit, and be part of them. If you haven't been contributing, if you have contributions, send it. If you have something, any little thing help to move us forward. I wish you all the best. And this is Fundo Daniel speaking here from the great state of Texas.